What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and tonight's live stream. Got a bunch of people in here already. Super excited about that. Let me make sure that you guys can see and hear me, and we'll get going here pretty quick. Got some of the usual suspects up in here. Paul Seraphin, Chris Sexton, Mindy, a bunch of the people we see normally. So really appreciate you guys being in here and in the chat. Like I said, just let me know and make sure that everything is good on this end. There's Corey. I'm wearing Corey's shirt today. Colorado Cold Bloods. So, all right, cool. Well, thanks again, like I said, for joining me tonight, guys. This one's really really fun. I'm really excited about this. I have known of and personally our guest tonight for a while now. He's part of what I would consider the Mid-Continent Reptile Coalition. In fact, when I bring him in, we'll set that up. That's a thing that needs to happen. It needs to be a group in the middle of the country. But anyway, super nice guy, really cool combos. We're going to get into all of it. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in Mr. Ryan Thomas of Superior Scales Reptiles. Welcome, buddy. You there? We can hear you.
How's it going?
There we go. All right. Yeah. So bear with us, guys, a little bit today. Yeah, I can hear you, hopefully, or you can hear me. So let's see. I think that's all working. We're still working out the bugs on his end just a little bit with some connection issues, but it does look like it's going to hold up. So we'll go forth as best we can.
Yeah, I feel like a bit of
There, I got you. You can hear me?
All right, I think I'm all set.
All right. Like I said, guys, like I said, we might have a little bit of a delay here and there. It happens, no big deal. We'll make the best of it. But thanks for coming on, man. I mean, this has been a long time coming. You're one of the guys I definitely wanted to just chat with for a while. So how you been? Like, what's new in your world?
Man, I've been busy. Been a crazy year. Lots of hatchlings, lots of fun snakes. I mean, I'm living it up, man. Loving it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw you just recently built a rodent facility, right? A barn.
Yeah, for the snakes. My snake facility.
The snake building.
I haven't ventured into the rodent breeding yet. I still got a couple buddies that take care of that end for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, built a facility.
All right, cool. Well, for those that are in here that aren't familiar yet, or for some reason don't know you, I'm gonna put you up on the main screen, man. Just kind of give them a rundown, give them a background on your story.
Hey, Jason, I'm having trouble hearing you. It's lagging a little bit. Let's check something. I think on my end. Hold on.
Yep. All right, guys, give us just a minute here with some technical difficulties. It happens. I'm still working out the intricacies of this program too, for that matter. I will say, while we're waiting on Ryan to come back, one of the things I am working on, just so you guys are aware that are interested in the live streams that we're doing. Obviously, we'll have these Saturday night ones going forth. I will tell you now, next weekend, obviously they're not going to have one because it's Christmas weekend. So spend that with your family. Don't waste your time on me. And we'll pick up in 2 weeks with another guest. I'll announce that later on in the night. Beyond that, one of the things I did just figure out, set up for this process or in this program here, is a way to do a multi-camera setup on my own stream. So with that, I decided I think it would be really fun moving into the 21 season to do a live stream of each clutch cutting. So that's something that we're going to do moving forward. I'll have the main camera here, and then I'll have an egg camera that we can zoom in on and all be tied together. So that'll be really exciting to be able to do a live clutch cutting, because we did hit some really cool stuff this season, and I would like to be able to share that kind of stuff in the moment. For those that were here for my first live stream that was on my birthday a couple weeks, I guess about a month back now, when we hit the Sumapide, that kind of thing, so that was super cool. So we're going to be doing that moving forward. So keep an eye on that. And we'll keep doing the live streams on Saturday nights here, and our regularly scheduled videos on Thursdays as best as possible. It's a lot of work, but I really enjoyed doing it. So while we're waiting for Ryan to get back, drop some comments in the or some questions in the comments here, and I'll get them queued up so that we can ask Ryan when he comes back. He's just trying to get his connection a little bit better so he can hear us and we can hear him, and we'll go from there. While we're waiting, I'll go ahead and put some music in the background so it's not just a bunch of dead air for you guys, because that's no fun. So we'll do this. Let me know that you guys can hear the music as well, because I've obviously got it through headphones, and so I got to make sure I can hear. And like I said, put some questions up in the comments. We had all this worked out before, but technology doesn't necessarily play by our own rules. All right, let's see if we can get him back here now. You back with us?
All right, man. My crossed.
Still a little bit glitchy, but we can hear you at least.
Okay. Well, that's better. All right. So what was basically the first question you asked me?
Well, like I said, what I'm going to do is just for those that don't know you for some reason, if they haven't found you along the way, I'm going to go ahead and put you up on the main screen here, man. Just kind of give everybody a background and a little bit of an introduction on yourself.
Okay, absolutely. All right, so yeah, my name is Ryan Thomas. I've been into ball pythons since around 2012. That's kind of when I got into it. And I've been started out with bearded dragons actually before that. And all it took was one trade I did for a ball python. I was never a snake guy, always into lizards instead. But took one trade, I ended up accepting a bearded dragon for just a normal female ball python. And the mixture of that trade and just kind of enjoying that snake, and then going to a couple reptile shows and just seeing the ball python variety, I was hooked. And then slowly just started phasing out the lizards and slowly just got into snakes. I still have that original girl. She's wanting to stay with me forever. Real special, just kind of the one that got me into the hobby. But yeah, I kind of up just a normal female, and then slowly built. I think the next year I had 4 to 6 snakes, and by the next year I was producing my first clutch, which was a spider to a normal, and then actually that year also the second clutch pastel to another normal. So big time. And then every year it just kind of started growing exponentially, and now I'm up to quite a large collection, and we're getting close to 90 clutches this year. So it's been a slow, steady growth, but now it's really feeling like I'm really doing it and just loving it. I enjoy every aspect of it.
Oh, that's cool, man. I actually didn't realize you had been in the game that long. That's awesome. I mean, everybody's been in a long time compared to us. So but for 2012, I mean, geez, I was still in the beginning of my military time, and then it's like I didn't even know what a snake was at that point.
Right. Yeah.
So, and I do know I've seen. Obviously, I follow you online and everything. We've been friends for a while in that, but you're definitely a big family man too. You got a bit of a following around the household too. You got a couple kids, right?
My wife, Katie, we met in college and got married in college. So we've known each other, Raylan, and a 10-month-old son. His name's Gabriel. So yeah, and my daughter is absolutely just in love with snakes too. It's really any animals. She's an animal girl. All the different animals we have, but especially the snakes, she always wants to help with whatever she can. Her favorite thing right now is helping me with shipping. Anytime I'm packing up snakes, she wants to be involved and help open the bag up and help hold down the box lid so I can tape it.
Oh, that's that's wild.
So
I mean,
she's gonna be a big help to me, I think, in the future. And then my son, I'm sure he'll follow in her footsteps, but he's still.
that's cool. Yeah, I've got a 4-month-old little girl now, so it's been a new adjustment for sure. But it's cool when the wife brings her out into the snake room while I'm working, and that it's definitely going to groom her into a little snake breeder as well.
There you go. Be a shame if you didn't.
All right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Cool. Well, I know you guys do mostly you do all ball pythons, correct? Or you have anything else you're working with?
Yeah, I mean, currently it's just ball pythons as far as breeding breeding plans. We do have a few other species of snakes. We've got some retics, some Angolans, womas, and some rainbow boas. Just kind of some extras that we're just kind of enjoying growing up. Probably at least the pythons. We'll end up breeding those. I'm definitely a python guy. Yeah, so a few other species. We got a king snake.
You how big? I mean, how big of an operation are you running now? What kind of numbers do you normally do?
Yeah, we've got currently we probably have around somewhere in the 600 to 700 snake number. Now that's
Wow.
including we probably got 200 babies still from this year. So I mean we're pretty good size. Yeah, it's definitely a full-time job on the side.
So that was my next question. Are you full time with that, or do you still have a quote unquote real job?
Yeah, so I still quote unquote have a real job. There's a lot of reasons for that. I'm an electrical engineer by day. That's my day job. What I went to college for. And then there's a lot of reasons I stick to my election each year, which if we want to go and do that full time at some point, that's what you got to do. So having that allows me to keep investing. I am to where my wife and I we started talking earlier in the year to where we could switch full time if we wanted to, but I think we're still going to do about a 2 to 3 year outland before we make that switch. Just like once again, there's some things we want to take care of first, and then just want to still really be able to heavily invest. You just have that extra finances to do that.
Okay, and is your wife work outside the home?
Isn't that
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't sleep much, so there's a trade off.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's true with kids anyway. I'm finding out. But does your wife work outside the home, or is she work? It's just the home life kind of keep her busy.
She works. So I mean, being a mom of two, and plus she helps out with some things that normally you think the man of the house would do, just because I'm so busy with snakes a lot of times. But she also has a couple. She's a social media manager, so she does some stuff at home, some online work for some companies. So that's convenient for her, easy to work around her mom life too.
Oh, okay, that's not too bad. Yeah. All right. Well, like everybody has figured out from the last
Yeah.
couple of these I've done, I have nothing prepared. That's kind of my style, and that's true with all my videos. To be honest with you, but I do like to talk to. I like to talk to people more than just about what projects are you doing this year? What are you planning on? What are you breeding? Yada yada yada. Like, if there's anything in your world that you've been just dying to get off your chest about, I love lighting people up and just letting them run because it's way more fun for me, and to give them the platform. That's why we call it an open mic, to just turn loose. So, just give me something. I'll kind of just bounce back and forth on you, and we'll get back to the snakes, of course. That's part of the deal. But
yeah. I mean, as far as things, just dying to say, I'm in a lot of ways I'm a man of few words. I'm an observer. I like to be quiet. I think a lot of times the smartest people are quiet a little more. I think there's some wisdom there, but there's definitely, and that leads into I try to stay out of most of the social media drama. I feel like I do a pretty good job. Sometimes I just got to jump in there because you got to sometimes. But I just think if one of the biggest things I try to stress to people, and social media is bad at it, is how much we really do need to, I'll use the word nurture because that's really what the word is, nurture the newcomers in the hobby. They're getting a bad rap lately in a lot of groups and in a lot of social media platforms. And it's like, they are some stuff that they're getting drilled on now. It's stuff I did back in 2012, 2013. Like, that's just like, that is the cycle of it. You start off and there's things you got to learn. There's things you're going to do wrong. You're going to learn from mistakes, and hopefully we're really good people that were more experienced in the hobby when I started, that really reached out to me and mentored me and set me on the right path. First one, he was a local guy to me, so that made that connection real easy. And then Josh with Ball Python Shed, he was another one soon after that. Just I realized he was going a direction I wanted to go, and so he quickly kind of took me under his wing and also offered some real solid mentorship. So both of those guys, you got to find the people that are positive in the hobby to just keep taking to that next level as far as you want to go. So that's one of the things that's kind of been on my heart lately is just we got to treat people better, especially the new people in the hobby, because they are the future. We've got to keep that in mind. And a person that's just getting in the hobby now, in 8 years, like me, could be really cool stuff, and you want to be a part of that. So.
Yeah, I can absolutely respect and appreciate that, being one of the new kids on the block, so to speak. And you mentioned Josh. We're actually going to have him on in a few weeks. I'm really excited to talk with him more in depth because he in particular has been on our team from day one. And I've put my foot in my mouth enough times online because I'm a little more outspoken than you are oftentimes. But Josh has been there. He's been a lot of help. We've got a couple animals from him. I've been really happy with his friendship, with his customer service and that kind of thing. And that's actually how we got to you, was through Josh originally. And even you've been there. I mean, I'll message you in the middle of the night, just randomly out of the blue, and you're usually right there to respond. And so that's definitely a big part of it. And I'm starting to see that more with what you would classify as the big breeders, the big names. They seem to be coming around, like they're getting soft in their old age, I guess is the best way to put it. You can reach out to guys like Mark Mandick and Ozzy and Billy and
Sure, yeah.
and that kind of thing. And a lot of those guys are more willing to help. And that it's almost like it's that middle group that thinks that they're the new thing. And so they don't need the big dogs, and they can step all over the guys below them. And sadly, that's kind of, I see what you're seeing for sure, but there's plenty of people here in the chat that are followers of yours. And Shannon says here that you've taken her under your wing, and so grateful for the help, and it's paid off immensely in that. So I see it, throughout the hobby for sure. I totally get that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there.
Did we lose you? You still there?
I'm still here.
Yeah,
Did you ask a question?
No, we're just super delayed. It seems like there's a fairly big gap between you and me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out on my end if there's anything here. I think it's more of a Wi-Fi issue than anything at this point. Let's see.
Yeah, that's what it's got to be.
So let me ask you this. I'll put this one up because I know it's a project you work in.
Yeah, Wi-Fi on my end is showing,
Still there? Yep. It's just really delayed at this point. Yeah, give us a couple minutes here, guys. Let me try to figure this out. It seems like everything on my end, according to the chat, is pretty solid.
We had a good.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe it would work better off of the Wi-Fi with you or not. If that would help. I don't know what you guys are out in the middle of nowhere, aren't you?
You can try that.
Yeah, let's give that a shot and see if that works, and we'll just play it by ear at this point. While we're waiting on that, Rick said here it's sad that some of the newcomers have no idea what the original big dogs or who the original big dogs were that paved the way for where we are now. And I get that too. A lot of people, you hear a lot of people say that, who is Mark Mandic, who is Tracy Barker, that kind of thing. And I'm even guilty of not knowing a lot of the founding fathers of the hobby for sure.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point and a perspective that you don't want to dismiss either. Yeah, that's the other half of the coin. You've got the newcomers, but you've got all the people that paved the way for us too. So yeah, that's good.
For sure. Hey man, since you if you hopped off the Wi-Fi, try just bouncing out of here completely and coming back, see if it'll reset. Everybody says it looks like it's freezing on your end. There's just a bunch of lag for whatever reason.
Okay, I'll get out.
Sorry guys, thanks for being patient with us. It happens, not everybody's either hooked up to a computer or whatnot. So we'll get Ryan back. We had it set up earlier. It seemed to be working okay, but can be a little spotty with the internet. Yeah, but I mean, he's got a good point. The old timers, so to speak. There's a lot of them I don't even know, and it's part of the reason I wanted to do this interview thing was to be able to get to some of those people or to some people that know the stories and the history and that behind it. Excuse me, I've spoken to like Sean Bradley before, and Sean's got tons of stories. And, when we've had Brian Barczyk here and obviously he's got lots of stories. So I definitely am working to get to those people. I'd love to have Mark Mandic on. I'd love to have Tracy Barker on. I'd love to have Ozzy on and start kind of feeling out the history. I think there's a lot to be learned there for sure. But Ryan's got a good point, and he's one of those guys that you definitely want to get a hold of if you don't already know him, if you haven't spoken to him before. Yeah, he's got fantastic animals. He makes incredible stuff every year, but he's definitely one of the nicest guys in the hobby, and one of the most down to earth, willing to help people. And that was super cool. And I learned that early on from him. So, like I said earlier, I'll send him a message of an animal I hatched, like, hey, check this out. you know, he's like, oh, cool, that's awesome. Like, which parent, what are you planning? So looks like we're going to get him back here. And let's see if this is any better. Is it looking any better yet?
I can hear you. That's a good sign.
Hey, the video looks a little better. Let's just not move and we'll go with that.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that looks a little bit better. So let me ask you this. I know you're in do you do both highway and freeway or just one or the other?
Yeah, I do both.
Okay, so I've not mentioned this on my channel anywhere else before, but I actually sent John Lehman an email the other day. And I said that, in my opinion, on Morph Market, we have a vital flaw. And it has to do with the way that the yellow belly complex animals, specifically to highway and freeway, are labeled is horrendous. And that it's very difficult, especially we're talking about newcomers, new breeders and that. So, for instance, I was looking for either a freeway male or an asphalt male specifically, because you and I've talked before, and I don't have super asphalt money yet, but I'm coming your direction when I do. But if I wanted, say, a known entity,
sure,
asphalt male, like let's say an Enchy asphalt male or something, if you go into Morph Market and you click on the little tag that it puts on your animal, you say, I want an asphalt and I want a male, is what you end up with is a huge list of whatever's yellow belly or asphalt or yellow belly / asphalt, because is what we as breeders do is when we put the label or put the animal on the internet, we select both the yellow belly tag and the asphalt tag because we don't know which one it is, right? Well, I sent John an email. I said, is what we should do is we need to make 2 new tags that say yellow belly / asphalt or yellow belly / gravel. So then people like me, if I'm looking for a dedicated asphalt, I can go click the asphalt button. And if it's either an asphalt or a freeway, because those would be the 2 options, that's what I'll find. If I'm looking for a dedicated yellow belly animal, I click yellow belly and I would get yellow bellies. But if I didn't care, if I wanted to take that chance, if I wanted to buy a possibility one way or the other, then I could click on the yellow belly / asphalt tag, and it would be its own separate grouping. That was my thought. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's valuable. I do know, I don't know if a lot of people would see that. I mean, that tag would take a bit to get used to, I think, knowing that that's a separate tag, even in, breeders making sure that's in their listing and not both genes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I will say, whenever I'm going to search for just asphalt or just stuff, I do go in and, you can put including one of those genes and then you put excluding yellow belly.
Correct.
So
yeah.
There's a good way to find just asphalt or gravel animals. Now, for freeway stuff, obviously that doesn't work. So then usually what I do in that case is I filter it by highest price, because usually the price higher than your yellow belly / asphalts or gravels. You know what I mean? But yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, from a searchability standpoint, it's not that user friendly if you're on specific. So yeah, I think that's excellent, excellent thing to run by John, because if we can get something like that implemented, I think that would be really, really valuable.
Well, and one of the things he sent me back when he was asking about that is they're actually talking about working in later on is a possible tag. So if you had, which I think this idea is actually really smart. Let's say you produce let's say it's a GHI freeway, and it could possibly also be, let's just pick something, Phantom, for lack of better terms, right? But you don't know for a shot, you're 100%, so you can't.
Yep.
And you're going to sell it as a GHI freeway, and if it turns out to be Phantom, they got a bonus, right? Well, he's talking about adding the ability to do instead of just writing it in the title, do a possible tag to go with it. Instead of, because of what people do now is they'll put GHI, yellow belly, asphalt, and Phantom, and yet you don't know that it's a phantom, yet it's being advertised as such as far as the tags are concerned. So he actually mentioned that they're talking about doing possible tags too, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think that actually is really because even like a lot of times if I'm making an ad and I even put possibles in the title, in the genetics of it, those will automatically get added as genetics tabs. So
Yep.
even though it might, it's maybe only be a 2-gene animal, but I think there might be 2 other genes in there, it's listed on the market as a 4-gene animal. And so if you're not really paying attention to either the verbiage of the title or reading like the description, your customer could get a little confused there too.
Yeah,
And obviously
Corey,
the asphalt / yellow belly thing is still than that when using freeways because one of those genetics is guaranteed. It's just you're not sure which one, but it's
for sure
wouldn't really work to put it's possible yellow belly or possible asphalt because it is one. So that I still think having that tag might be valuable.
Well, and Corey's got a good point too. It drives him nuts when sellers don't proofread, I guess is the best way to put it, their ads, and instead of it being a yellow belly, leopard, whatever het clown, it comes up with the visual clown tag. So when I go in to buy a clown female, I hit the clown button, and then it drops down and it's got all these hets in there as well.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that just has to do a lot with the proofreading. And I know some of you guys that you've got.
It's amazing.
No, sorry, I thought I stepped on you there. But you got a lot of these guys that do hundreds or thousands of animals a year, and I get that it's complicated to keep them all categorized and get them loaded up correctly and that, but it just takes a little bit of proofreading. I mean, I looked at one the other day that I sent it to Josh actually, and it was all kinds of wrong. Like it said, like pastel banana or it said like het banana in the title and something else. And I'm like, this thing was like a super pastel banana at most, but it had like 5 different genes listed, and the title literally said het banana, and I'm just like.
Yeah, I've seen some interesting things like that as well. That's just I see those as just a way to make you smile in the day, kind of just a little laugh. Well, what can you do?
Yeah. What would you say is your most, or I guess your most heavily invested project? What do you work with most frequently?
So, mine is probably highway freeway stuff. With the because what really got me into investing in ball python, I like to kick it up a level and try to make some nice stuff. What was seeing the highway back in, I think I saw it back in 2015, and that just kind of really peaked. And then the pastel highway just really peaked my. So because of that, I mean, highways and freeways have been pretty solid in my collection since then, and building that. But lately, especially this year, and a lot of stuff I held back for the coming year and 2 years down the road is mahogany clown stuff. I'm really excited about that direction, and so at least my clown portion of my project is going to heavily start going that direction. And so I'm really excited to see what that work looks like, as well as I've got some double recessives with it as well, growing up, double hets obviously, into some other projects. But I like the mahogany clown project a lot, and then obviously mahogany pied. Suma pieds are incredible. So I just like that, getting into puzzle, getting into desert ghost. There's just a lot of stuff I want to do with that. So that's probably that's the one coming up for me.
Well, and I did see you just hatched that Suma het clown, which is, I mean, that's a killer animal there too.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really, really excited. I did one pairing for that this year, and the hopes was just to get a Suma Het Clown girl to hold back. And it was a mahogany hidden gene woman clown male to a mahogany pinstripe Mojave female. She girl wasn't a huge girl. She gave me 5 eggs, so I had 5 chances, and ended up hitting 2 Sumas in the clutch, male female. And
Oh wow.
the female has 1 or 2 of those other genes. I think the male is just a Suma. He's so dark. But yeah, so I was pretty excited, really excited about that, and that'll be my last clutch to hatch this year. So kind of end on that, hitting another goal is back. So that was cool.
You got a fan and a follower in the group here. Shannon said that she did a pastel highway to highway clutch this first year, and they both were from you.
She did, and that clutch was awesome. I mean, talk about your first, like me starting out. If that had been my first clutch, like I probably would have died. I mean, that was that's the first thing I knew of starting out. So I was really proud to did, and then both snakes did come from me. She raised them from bees. I mean, and so that was phenomenal.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love seeing that kind of stuff happen. Josh sent me. So I've got some animals from Josh, and we put them together and got to. We made some really cool stuff this year with that, and I check in with him constantly. And it's fun to watch that. And then now I'm to the point where a couple of seasons in, I'm seeing my animals start growing up, and people come back to me and it's like, hey man, this thing is, it's doing so well. It's like this big now. I'm so excited. And so that's a really cool to be on the other side of it. I'm sure you've seen that plenty of times. If you got, hundreds or thousands of customers at this point, but it's, that's been a really fun experience coming up.
Sure. It's satisfying for just it makes what you do matter a little more. It brings a little more worth and just kind of satisfaction to what you're doing when you see other people succeeding and growing up your animals and doing cool stuff with them. So yeah, absolutely.
Rick asks, so where are you planning on taking the Hidden Gene Woma Clown project?
Yeah, so one of my very first directions ended up holding back an entire clutch for this project is I actually first want to take it Hidden Gene Woma Clown Pied project, because I've just been loving the Hidden Gene Woma Pied combos I've been seeing lately. Posted a lot by Frank. Those are the main ones I see, but I really like just what that adds to the pied look. And some of the Hidden Gene Woma clowns I hatched out this year, I don't know if there's something extra. I got the original male from Mark Bailey, and he's been wondering too, because he gets some weird stuff out of it, but they just look phenomenal. So I'm like, if I can get that look in the clown and what I've been seeing like Frank posting and the Hidden Gene Woma all together in the clown, that'd be pretty sweet. So that's a double recessive project that I'm pretty excited for. We'll probably have first shot at that, not this coming season, but 2022. Some other directions that I'm wanting to take it. I mean, probably what I really want to get into, because this is a direction I'm focusing a lot of mahogany clown stuff next year. That's my Hidden Gene Woma clown stuff is tied to the mahogany clown stuff because it all came from that same sire, but it's dark. I want to get black pastel into it. I did some pattern stuff in it like Inchy this year, and I really like how it turned out, but I want to get some depth to the color. So I want to black pastel and blackhead are probably the two dark genes I have quite a bit in my collection. I want to start working into that Hidden Gene Woma, because the pattern itself of Hidden Gene Woma is incredible. So I don't want to change that pattern. I want to add some depth. So that's probably one direction I'm really excited to start working into the Hidden Gene Woma clown project.
That's a gene I don't have any of. I mean, there's lots of genes I don't have any of, but that's one I don't have any. And it's something I'm interested in. I actually don't even know. Is there a super in that, or is it part of the Bell complex, or what? How does that work?
It's kind of part of, I don't know if there's a super Hidden Gene Woma. I'm kind of thinking there's not, because I haven't heard of it, but part of the, I don't know, it's kind of part of spot nose, spider, and Woma. It's kind of, there can be some severe cases every once in a while of neurological stuff. Now, in all the stuff I'm hatching, I don't see it at all. So I never would have thought it within that kind of complex. But I don't think people really breed it to other hidden gene woma stuff or even other things in that kind of family, just because of the potentials. But yeah, like I said, I think I stayed away from it a little bit because I do a spider and I really enjoy that and what it does to patterns. And so to add another similar gene like that hidden gene woma, I just wasn't really interested until it came in with my mahogany clown male. And then just seeing some combos he's produced with hidden gene woma, it's like, man, I wish I had gotten into that gene several years ago to work into the stuff, because it's really cool.
Okay. Yeah. Good to know. I mean, everybody in the comments are saying the same thing in the chat, that it's like a super spider. It's a lethal combo. I didn't know that. In fact, I agree with you. I use spider too. I like it. And I have some woma stuff that I like too, because it has the same kind of spider webby pattern effect. But the problem with the woma is that you don't get the chance of those really high white sides. And my favorite are like the calidars and the spider combos that they're super high white size. That's my and you don't get that in a woma, unfortunately. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to keep using it. You just be smart with it, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's stuff you can that I can make with spider that I just can't make with another gene. And man, I just, from my personal experience, I know there's severe cases out there, and I think a lot of that honestly is tied to husbandry and stress levels and things. But man, the spiders in my collection just thrive. I mean, they're some of my best eaters repeatedly every year. The ones I hold back, the different combos they do. Since highway and freeway is one of my main focuses, what they can do in highway and freeway just looks amazing. And so if they're healthy and thriving with me, I'm gonna keep working with them, because I just I breed first for myself. And I just look in the combos. I do a lot of calico stuff. So calico and orange dream genes like that, man, you got to have spider with that. Like it works so well. So yeah, I'm a fan.
Rick here says that he thinks he kind of with you. He thinks that Mark has something different going on with his mahogany clowns that might not just be what it says.
Yeah. Talking with Mark, supposedly the only other thing in his mahogany clown lineage is I think just possible blade. I don't even think it's blade. It's just he thinks it might be in there. But I've hatched, so like this year I hatched out a couple mahogany hidden gene woma clowns from some very simple pairings, like that sire either paired to just like a clown female or like another gene in a het. So it was like obvious that that's all it was. And both of those dramatically differ in appearance from each other, as well as on the sire. Like, so I have 3 examples that just look dramatically different and all really cool in their unique way. But it's like something else is in there, because they should be coming out to look a little closer, I would imagine. Hidden gene woma isn't that variable. I mean, a little bit. Not what I'm seeing.
Well, and Herpers Hollow said that they think that the black pastel yellow belly hidden gene woma clown is going to be crazy.
I would definitely agree that black pastel is going to add the dark color, and then obviously, I mean, you really can't yellow belly to any clown combo. I mean, it adds the enhancement, the color it adds. I mean, that's going to be a wicked combo.
Well, and one of the watching what I like what black pastel does in clowns in general. In fact, this year we're doing a pinstripe clown to a pewter genetic stripe for some double heads, because I really like what the genetic stripe clowns do, and I'm hoping that the problem with genetic stripe obviously is the dark genes, the cinnamons, the black pastels, that kind of stuff. It blows out all the pattern. It becomes a solid snake, and so I'm hoping that the pinstripe will help bring some of that back, maybe to the super pastel, and obviously the clown will bring in some pattern that the otherwise pewter G stripe will be missing.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic drink try. I like it a lot. Yeah, I think any one of those dark genes you can add into clown is gonna help when clown can bring in its pattern. So yeah, that's good.
Interesting here. Rick is saying to get your highway stuff into the hidden gene woma clowns too. the combo will be in saying he made an Inferno highway, and it's just nuts.
Cut out for a second there, Jason. Did you mention Rick's a question about the Hidden Gene Woman Highway yet?
Yeah, I read it out loud. He just said that that you should start adding your highway and freeway stuff into it because he's already made the Inferno clown and it came out killer. He thinks that the Hidden Gene Wilma highway clown is going to be crazy.
So this year, and I was not the first to make these, but this year I made some Hidden Gene Wilma freeway combos, and it's phenomenal. Like it really works well. Hidden Gene Wilma with the freeway. I don't know. It doesn't add a lot for me. It still is really nice, but I hit a pastel inchy Hidden Gene Wilma, and it was really nice. Gold, purple colors in it, changed up the pattern. Like it works really well. So I imagine it's going to do something very similar with highway. So I think that's a good direction.
Question here for you from Vivid Scales says, are you planning on getting into any new projects this year that you aren't currently involved in, be it Sunset, Monsoon, etc.?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Now I'm not sure what the etc. stands for. There's a lot of Sunset, Monsoon, Mandarin.
Or
actually,
others. I added the etc.
Genes are on my near future list. I think. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I just now saw the comment. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to do with those genes. I think they do some really cool stuff. There's some way like they're a little limited for things I want to do with them. So for now, there's just some other things on my list I think I'd rather get into first. Now, out of those three you mentioned, probably Sunset interests me the most out of those three, and that's just because I think it has a color palette that no other gene does, and so in the right stuff, which I think we're starting. I think it really has a lot of potential. So yeah, that's kind of my input on those three.
So let me ask you this in regards to Sunset, because this is one that comes up a lot. And to be honest with you, I am not a huge proponent for Sunset at the moment. Yeah. I do have one very long shot chance of making them this year, but I'm not even holding my breath for it. But what do you think is going to be the key to unlocking Sunset's potential? Because I don't think we're going the right direction yet, and I'm curious to see what your thought is before I give you what I think, well, what my thought is going that way.
Yeah, I mean, a big part of Sunset that people like is that kind of, that reddish, orangish brown, like that color. It's not so much the pattern, it's that color, which is why we got the Sunset name. So I think first off, adding genes or getting things in like Super O to Yellow Belly, some of those other color and genes I think will really bring out its color more and possibly allow it to hold its color longer. At least in some examples I've seen it kind of feel where it looks really nice and bright as a baby, and it kind of it fades quick compared to some other colorful combos, in my opinion. And that's also just based on the examples I've seen. So I think some genes like that. I also think, so in my opinion, Calico is a gene that in certain combos, it actually, a good example of that is in bites. It brings in a kind of a reddish orange tone. There's something else. Oh, it was some GHI stuff I saw. I think it might have been GHI special combos or something that also had Calico, and those things turned more orange colored. So I think anybody in the Sunset Project going with Calico and then getting pied to be able to get some more intense color out of it. So if I was working the project, those are probably some, and those are genes I've got a bit of my collection, so those are directions I definitely take it. And just, you got to wait a few years if you think it could really pay off. What do you think, Jason?
Well, it's funny you mentioned calico, because Snake Intelligence said that somebody needs to make the sugar NG Orange Dream Yellow Belly Sunset, and it's along the same lines, obviously. And I think you and I are similar in regard. I didn't think about the calico. That's interesting, because if you take it towards, now I don't know what all the genes are, but if you take it towards like the campfire and the wildfire and that kind of thing, you might be going the right direction for sure. And I know there's calico in that, or at least I think there is. But I think you're right. I think you're along the right lines. I think people are taking it the wrong direction with all the dark stuff. Obviously, Enchi brings out a lot of reds. That's fine. But cinnamon, black pastel, GHI did a little bit different. That was pretty cool to see. But I think going dark is wrong, in my opinion. I think they need to start going lighter. And like you said, add more color, OD, white, yellow belly, that kind of thing. But I also think if you're going to play the long odds game, that, in my opinion, lavender albino in particular and ultramel are going to really help unlock that color. And then in which case, then you can start adding the color modifiers like black pastel and so on, and maybe go back to dark, put 2 layers of bright and then add a layer of dark after. But I think going dark is not the right way, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I know I really like about ultramel. I'm not big into that gene. I've seen a few things that I like. I know you produced some nice ultramel stuff this year. But that color tone I think would work nicely with Sunset. I think, and that's brings in the double recessive project, which is going to hold it harder for other people to make. If you hit that's a correction. I like that a lot. Also, since I'm into highways and freeways, can someone get on the Sunset Freeway? Even better than Sunset Super Asphalt or Super Gravel. I think that could be really cool too. It's not something I'm working on, but somebody help me out.
A couple of people in the chat have mentioned Desert Ghost. A lot of people mentioned Hypo, and Hypo's been done. And I do like the Hypo Sunset as a baby. I do like the colors. I'm waiting to see one that's, a year old, 1,000 grams, so forth, and see how it colors out. The Hypo Clown did nothing for me so far as a base combo. The Sunset Clown did nothing for me. The DG Sunset's going to be interesting because it does brighten it, add more contrast and whatnot, but I'm curious to know what it does to the overall depth of the snake, because something I've noticed with Desert Ghost, the way I describe it to people that don't know, is it's like drawing with chalk. It's very flat. It's very kind of a matte finish in that. And I wonder how that's going to react with the Sunset.
Yeah, I kind of see what you mean there. It gives a smoother appearance, but I know exactly what you're talking about. That flat color tone. So yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't ever heard of it that way, but I picked up some nice D stuff from Tim Thompson this year, and that's a good description. That color is there, but yeah, that's cool.
Says you got one here from Snake Intelligence. Says, Ryan, I got you. I have a reverse trio, so 2.1 of Super Asphalt Sunsets, and they're 66% Posset Yellow Belly. So pretty much you send the check and he'll send them out.
Okay. Did I hear that? Did you say Super Asphalt?
According to this comment, it says Super Asphalt Sunset Posset or
Super Asphalt Sunset.
And there's it says in there 60. Yeah, oh, I see. Okay, it's a joke. I get it.
That's incredible. I will yeah, I'll start the bidding at $3 and we'll see what we can get those sold for you tonight for.
I'm not sure if he's kidding or not, because it does say
I would really like to see that. I don't know about this. I'd love to see.
It does say Posset Yellow Belly. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I think
Corey's got it.
contact John and get us another tag for the 66% Posset yellow belly.
Corey's got an interesting point here. He said, you see with the ultra glows, the old ultramel hypos, and how bright orange and vibrant they stay. So maybe doing both. Just go balls to the wall, ultra glow sunset, and just make it ridiculous.
Yeah. They so big or go home, and I like that. I mean, that is going big.
All right, man. Well, we're coming up on the hour here. If there's anything else you want to add, I'll keep an eye on the comments and see if anybody has any additional questions specifically for you, because you're the focus of the story here. But if there's anything you want to add, man, it's an open forum. That's why I call it an open mic night. Just turn loose.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily have anything else to add, but I definitely enjoy seeing the comments coming through, the questions. I'm always available on my SSR page on Facebook or Instagram, or you can even find my personal profile on Facebook. And I love answering people's questions when they, when I can tell they've got a sincere interest in the hobby in some regard. That's what I love. So, definitely feel free to reach out to me, and these kind of questions, I'll take them anytime.
Okay, and you got one more here. It says Shannon wants to know what you found out about the pavement clutch. I assume that's an inside story.
Yeah, so the pavement clutch was so for those of you that don't know, pavement was the term, and I don't know who came up with it, but they came for the gravel asphalt combo. So it's an ALS combo. Obviously, they're in the same complex. And so I did a clutch this year with pastel super asphalt to a super pastel highway. And obviously, I mean, everything, is pastel, everything's asphalt. So I'm expecting to see freeway and pavement combos, pastel freeway and pastel pavement combos. And I thought it was going to be fairly straightforward ID. And then they come out and it's like, I didn't know. I knew one of 7 snakes. I was like, I know what that is. Or no, I know 2 of them. 2 out of them, they were pretty obvious, but the other 5 just kind of been a guessing game. So what I told everyone is I'm reaching out to others who do a lot of freeway stuff or super asphalt stuff, because the theory, right, is that the pavement should look similar to super gravels or super asphalt, kind of somewhere in that same realm. Although that's not really proven to be the case. But my plan is, I think they've all gone through they're going through their second shed now. But basically, I want to get several sheds on them, see how they change in color, because I've done so much freeway stuff, and I know people like Josh who have done a lot of freeway stuff will be able to tell how they're coloring up, I think, if they're freeways or if they're kind of staying that darker look, which you'd expect from the pavements. So as of now, to be honest, most of those are seeming like they're going to be they are. They just look enough different, except for the one that was a super pastel freeway, which was pretty obvious what she was. But yeah, so I mean, I'll definitely post some more results when I feel like I've nailed those down. But it's been way harder than I expected.
Interesting. All right, and we'll do one more here with Corey before we head out. Thoughts on a sleeper? Yep.
Yeah, so to be honest, if I just off the cuff had to name one without really thinking hard about it or preparing for it, it's Hidden Gene. And that's coming from my personal experience with it and kind of just discounting the gene and not really paying attention to it. But I think it's got a lot of potential even outside of recessives. Stuff it does in combos with other genes, some really cool striping, or raises the alien head to way off the belly. They're floating way up. It reduces pattern in some things, but it adds a lot of pattern in other combos. It's very, very cool. I feel like it hasn't had a big name, somebody really pushing that gene, so it gets overlooked. And so my recommendation, if you don't have that gene, get something with it, because there's some of us kind of medium range guys that are starting to push it into combos, and there's some cool stuff coming out. So that'd be mine.
Okay, and I imagine I was going to add, but I'm sure it's similar. Is probably what was your most underrated or underutilized gene currently?
Most underrated or underutilized. In case you think the screen is freezing, it's not. I'm actually thinking. Well, I'll just make this point. So, because I'm about to say yellow belly complex, but obviously, myself included, that's very well utilized. But why I mention that is because I feel like I really like to think about newcomers in the hobby, just with a lot of the ways I approach things. But I do feel like newcomers in the hobby really undervalue yellow belly complex stuff. You don't know how many times yellow belly. It's usually yellow belly because that's common. That just doesn't interest me. It doesn't do much to the snake. It looks like a normal still. Or if it's added in, like I just don't tell anything. And it's like when you really understand what that brings, even to simple combos, it makes a dramatic difference. And then obviously once you get into the ALS reactions, then you can really see some. I do think some of those enhancer genes like yellow belly complex, like special, that's a huge one. That in a single gene form, it's just not that impressive. Even in certain just simple stuff, blows your mind. So I think just really focusing on some of those genes that don't stand out by themselves is important to think about.
That's awesome, man. We have, we've got freaking freeway royalty in the house here. Billy at Mutation Creation Canada is checking in, and he completely agrees with you that yellow belly complex in general, and yellow belly is one of those foundation, baseline things we all need to have and understand how it works. I definitely, I agree with that for sure. But I'm gonna head. We're gonna go ahead and call it. Unless you got anything else you want to add, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I appreciate everybody coming out and listening. Sorry for the hiccups here. We'll get all of this stuff ironed out so it's super crystal clear, and we'll definitely have Ryan back and just turn him loose because I know he's holding back on me. And if I just get that fire lit, we can really get something going and figure out what's on his mind. But Ryan, real quick, before everybody heads out, let them all know where they can find you. Ready. Yeah, let them all know where they can find you, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely, yeah. So I've got a Facebook page. Just search Superior Scales Reptiles. Got an Instagram, Superior Scales Reptiles, I think _IG. If you're in Facebook groups, I'm in most of the main ball python groups. I try to be pretty active in those, so you can find me on there. I'm on Morph Market. My cell listed in a few places. People contact me that way. I've got an email, superiorscalesreptiles@gmail.com. So pretty much any way you want to reach, you can. YouTube years ago, just started it, and then right now one-man show, so I just ran out of time for it. But that's something soon. So hopefully within the next year or so, I'll be able to kind of start ramping that back up. I'll probably delete all content off of it and just kind of start fresh. But hopefully it'll be another way people can reach me and find me. But yeah.
Excellent, man. I really appreciate it. And as always, all of the info for Ryan and all of our guests as we go forward will be in the description of each of the videos. That's going to do it for tonight, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. It's been obviously kind of up in the air. We're dealing with some technical deals and that. We'll get all this stuff ironed out. We've been doing pretty good so far, so you got to have one hiccup here and there. But it's been good. I really enjoy what we're doing here. Like I said, next weekend, obviously Saturday after Christmas, spend it with your family. That's we've had such a goofy year, and that's so. Don't waste your time with me. Go spend it with your family. I'm certainly going to be. So don't expect a live stream. There will be a video up next week, regular scheduled time on Thursday evenings, my regular videos, but the live's not going to be up. The week after that, let me check real quick. just so you guys know. And of course, if you follow on Instagram, we'll have all the updates as we get closer. But the week after that, the New Year's live stream. So this is actually the evening of January 2nd. We're going to ring in the new year with Lindsay Noble of Noble Reptiles, the Hypo Queen. So another one of these, what I call sleepers, like Ryan, that are hiding in the shadows, making really cool stuff. We're going to bring her up front. We're going to turn her loose, and we're going to learn a little bit about Lindsay and what she's working with, because she's got a lot more than just ball pythons. So stay tuned for that. That'll be on the 2nd. Again, nothing next week. I really appreciate all you guys hanging out and being in the chat, and I will see you guys in the next one. See you later.